Don't you hate? And I don't know if I've done. No, I've done 2 videos in a day and stuff like that. Don't you hate when a person acts as though they're perfect? A person acts like they've never done anything out of the ordinary. A person acts like everything that they've done was correct. They were never wrong. Out of their entire life, they were never wrong about something, and they'll never own up to it. I know people like that. I know people that will find the excuse in their behavior. I know people that will take something that they do that is just you're just wrong, and instead of just owning up to it, we'll just be like, well, the only reason I did this is because this, or I handled it this way because of that. And by all means, I'm not taking away from you. Whatever the catalyst was to make you respond the way you did, it is what it is. But just because the catalyst got you to have that response, you need to be able to come to a point where you're like, you know what? I could have handled that better. I've come to a point in my life where I look at some of the things that I've done. I still make mistakes. I'm not saying that like I'm Grand Poobah Zen. I've not made a mistake since I've come to this point in my life. By all means, that is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I tend to look back, especially now with me being sort of like a contractor, entrepreneur type stuff. I look back at how I used money in the past, how wasteful I was, and how I could have invested in things, how I could have set myself up to be in a better position. I look at those around me that had money, that could have set themselves up and been in a better position where we are now. I look at past relationships and how I handled situations and realize that I could have handled that better. Regardless of how right I still feel about something, I could have handled that better. I was talking to a coworker today, and in the midst of us talking about a situation that had occurred years ago with a couple exes ago, and in the midst of me talking about it, I felt compelled, because here's the thing. Whenever you're telling your side of the story, you tend to make yourself seem like you're the hero. You know, everybody's the hero in their story, right? Everybody was in the right. You were the one that, you were the one that were wrong. You was the one that was wrong. In your story, you feel like you can't be the antagonist. You feel like you can't be the bad guy. Because from your point of view, from your view of things, you were in the right. And as I'm telling the story and telling all the things that she did wrong, when I say I just felt so compelled to say, but you know what? At the time, I was not the best boyfriend. And that's just me being God honest. I wasn't the best. Not saying that I was particularly bad. Not saying that I was particularly good. It's a lot of things that I could have handled a lot better. And me at that time not knowing how to cope with the issues that I had and to work through the issues. Not being able to handle my temperament and always lashing out, and just not being considerate and stuff like that. That played a big toll on that particular relationship crumbling and leading to other things that had happened. And I found it so funny that here I am admitting Didn't have to. Could have just kept going and said she was wrong, and you know, this is what she did, and that's why I was like, man, screw this, da da da. You know, as I'm telling the story, and I'm like, but I'm not without fault in this. And I find that most people are not willing to do that. Most people, because they haven't even sat down and looked at what they did. And most times people don't even get around to analyzing the relationship. That particular situation, and you know, I had to sit down and analyze it from my end, because unfortunately me and that person no longer speak. So, you know, I had to sit back and I had to replay things and keep replaying things and keep replaying things to say that, oh wow, you know what? I didn't handle that great. I didn't handle that the best way I could. Recent situations, I had the opportunity to press rewind and to go through things and to listen to the other person's take on things. Unfortunately, most of us don't have that luxury, because, you know, once a bad breakup occurs, you know, people tend to move on with their lives and keep it moving, and they tend to take whatever, you know, was in that relationship with them. And, you know, if you're not willing to sit down and say, well, you know, this particular time I did bark on this person, and, you know, I was having a bad day, I was this and I was that, you know, I should have apologized about that, but you didn't. And that type of thing resonates with people, and it stays with them. See, people, like I said, in your own version, through your own eyes, you can't do wrong. You feel like because you understand your actions, you expect others to understand your reactions and reactions. That's not the way the world works, man, because everybody reacts and their actions are based upon different elements and different stimuli that causes them to react the way they react and to do the things that they do, you know, based upon experiences, what they've learned, what they've seen, etc., etc. So that is why I'm constantly saying, when you're with somebody, you are growing with them. You know, you have to grow in love with people and all that type stuff, because everybody responds to things differently, and as you continue to grow, you'll start to respond to things differently again. Some people just don't get it. They don't. And that's fine. You think I was like this at 19? At 18? You think I could sit here and articulate the things that I've been through 10, 15 years ago? No. I wasn't no hothead or nothing like that. I mean, if you ask anybody from school, I seemed like the quiet, nice guy, but I always had a temper on me, and I had a mouth on me. You know, a few people saw it, but heard it. But you know, it is what it is. And you just get to a point in your life and you're just like, I could have handled things better. I could have done better. But that's all a part of growing. And that's why I said earlier, life is the lesson. Like, life itself. Yeah, we all go through different lessons in life. While you're living, you're going to have to pick up on certain lessons. But at the end of it all, life is one big lesson. One huge lesson, because when you're, God willing, you've lived your life to the fullest, you're surrounded by your loved ones, and you're on your bed, your deathbed, about to go wherever it is your soul is going to go, you're going to look back on things, and you're going to have one big lesson at the end of it all. That's why life is a big lesson. That's why when you talk to people and some people have regrets, and they're like, some of the things that I always hear is just, I wish I had done this. I wish I had done more. I wish I had done everything I wanted to do. I wish I didn't worry about money so much. I wish I had a family. I wish I had this. I wish I didn't have a family. I wish I didn't get married. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one big lesson at the end of it all. So for you to act like you've never done wrong. You've never made a mistake. You've never been this. You've never been that. And every time you dealt with a situation you was right, you're not learning, man. I find that extremely hard to believe that every time something went down, you were in the right. I find that extremely hard to believe, because let me tell you something. I try my best to be on the right side of the fence in most situations. And I can look back on situations right now. I still feel like I was right in the aspect of things. But looking at the grand scheme of things, at a whole situation, I can honest to God say, you know what? I didn't handle that well. I could have handled that so much better. I was wrong in this aspect of things. Life is one big lesson that, you know, at the end of it all, I just feel like one thing you really don't want is regrets. That's one thing you don't want. You don't want to sit here and at the end of your life be like, well, dang, I should have talked to that person. Or dang, I should have mended that fence. Or dang, I should have just lived. You hear me? Yeah, man. So, shout out to those that think that everything they do is correct, because it's not. It's not. How can it be? Well, life is one big lesson to just learn. You can't always be right, okay?